Their losses urge us to redouble our commitment to safety, from investment to our clean cab, our rigorous decontamination processes, and our annual cancer screenings. And I want to thank the mayor, our city manager, our council, for their support in these measures here. We truly thank you for your support in helping us maintain and continuing on as we try to prevent these from happening to any firefighter in the future. Anthony fought for the cause, and Frank lived his passion while serving and beyond. Both stand as examples of service, strength, and resilience. Let us honor their memories by recommitting ourselves to the mission they believed in. Service above self every single day, integrity in all things, on the fire ground and when advocating for safer conditions, in community, supporting one another, our families, and each firefighter that walks into our ranks, and remembering our mission of taking care of our community. To the Mock and Contreras family, we extend our deepest gratitude and sympathy, and thank you for sharing them with us. Their impact on this department and city will never be forgotten. As I close today, please join me in honoring and remembering Engineer Frank Contreras and Captain Anthony Mock with these beautiful tribute videos.
We started the academy together. I met him in our physical. We went down and had a physical together. And I remember looking at him, and my first words were, "And do all firefighters look like you?" Because he's a big guy, you know, because he's so official when he shook my hand. We just bonded from day one. We ended up on the same engine company in the academy. We came out on probation. We worked the first shift together on Rescue 18. He took pride in what he did. So once he knew he wanted to be an engineer, he was a good engineer. A person brings their character to what they do, and it's not the position that builds your character. It's other things in life and that you bring to the position. So I just thought he brought a great person to the position of engineer. I admired his family values, a good father, husband, just family member. That was something that he was real proud. He stayed in touch with a lot of distant relatives, loved his mom and dad, his brothers and sisters, like I said, brothers and sisters to me to this day. But him, I'll just always remember that his humor, his chuckle. And I remember the early days, and, you know, we played basketball together, his competitiveness. And even towards the end, just days before he passed, our last words together was, I told him, I said, "I love you, brother." And he, as always, he had to one-up me. He said, "I love you more." He always encouraged me. He called me a philosopher. And these are my wise words to all of those who have gone on. And it's called Every End Begins. And it says, we appreciate all of those who have gone on before us and how they have not gone away. Whenever we think of them, they live in our minds and we feel them in our hearts. Never gone, but forever gone on, we will all go. Every end begins a new way forward, and preserved in each other is how our life goes on. So, he's preserved.
Anthony Mock, a life extraordinarily lived. We gather here today not to mourn a life lost, but to celebrate a life extraordinarily lived. A life of faith, love, courage, and selflessness. His legacy will not be measured by the ranks he achieved or the roles he fulfilled, but by the kindness, strength, and love he brought to everyone he knew.
He was the best dad and husband. Anthony, I love you more than anything, and I don't know how I'm going to get through life without you. I hope I can make you proud, and I will love and protect our girls and keep your memory alive.
In the days following his passing, we have seen a significant number of firefighters making calls to Vincere Cancer Center to schedule their cancer screening. Lives potentially changed, possibly even saved, because of Anthony's courage and willingness to share his story. Even in his most difficult moments, he was thinking of others. True to the very essence of what it means to be a firefighter, a servant, and a leader. Anthony Mock accomplished his goals.
He started with his inner circle of friends begging us to get screened, and then made it his mission, asking all his brothers and sisters on fire department to do so. His direct quote, "I hope my journey inspires someone to go get checked that otherwise wouldn't have, and their life will be saved through early detection." Anthony, I can tell you right now that's happening already. You've done your job.
I would give nothing more than to have just one more shift change, checking off the truck, and just catching up about our girls and our days off and sports and whatever it was. And that window's closed. But what I do know is that it's gonna reopen and we're gonna be in the window of heaven with no expiration date. Soon enough, we can check off the truck or do whatever you want, man, because I can't wait. Because I love you, I miss you.
Let us honor Anthony's life by embodying the values he held dear: faith, love, and selflessness. His journey was not just one of a life well lived. It was of a life extraordinarily lived, filled with love, hope, purpose, lived fully and faithfully, with no regrets, and surrounded by people he loved the most. Rest in peace, Sir Anthony. Your extraordinary life has forever touched our hearts.
Thank you, Chief Duran, and we hope that all of you enjoyed getting to see a little bit more into the lives of Frank and Anthony this year. Before the start of this program, you heard music performed by a trio of musicians, including Phoenix Public Information Officer Lauren Evans. Well, joining her once again are Shay Chewy and Oksana Cochran to perform Nimrod from Enigma Variations by Edward Elgar. We thank you for that special musical performance. Now we'd like to welcome representatives from the city's employee unions and associations. Following their remarks, we'll share a special video tribute honoring the 101 employees whose names are already inscribed on our memorial wall. Our first representative is Kelsey Reed with the Administrative, Supervisory, Professional, and Technical Employees Association, or ASPTIA.
Good morning. It's hard not to be emotional after Chief Duran's amazing speech, especially since I'm a daughter of a retired firefighter. My name is Kelsey Reed, and I serve as the president of the Administrative, Supervisory, Professional, and Technical Employee Association, commonly referred to as ASPTIA. ASPTIA advocates for nearly 4,000 dedicated city employees across dozens of different professions, from park rangers to forensic scientists, to fire and police communication supervisors, librarians, criminal intelligence analysts, accountants, golf professionals, engineers, water quality inspectors, electrical supervisors, solid waste supervisors, IT specialists, and many more who serve our city every single day. This ceremony is more than a remembrance to our members. It's a promise that the men and women who lost their lives while serving our city will always be more than the names etched on a memorial, but will forever be remembered for their commitment, their dedication, and their service to the city of Phoenix. Each person we honor today showed up willing to put the needs of this community ahead of their own. They believed in public service. They believed in something greater than themselves, and they believed that their work mattered. ASPTIA represents the largest group of employees serving the residents of this city. Our association is committed to amplifying their voices, safeguarding their well-being, and ensuring their service is recognized with dignity and the respect it deserves. Through solidarity and advocacy, we uphold our responsibility to support those who continue to serve while honoring those who no longer can. While we cannot bring back our lost colleagues, we can honor their legacy by standing together, supporting one another, and continuing to serve this city with the same pride and purpose that they did. May we remember them not only with their words, but with actions. Thank you.
Our next representative is Jason Delgado with Laborers International Union of North America, Local 777.
Good morning. My name is Jason Delgado. I am with LiUNA Local 777 Phoenix chapter. We proudly represent the hardworking men and women of our streets, public works, mailroom, and parks department. Today we stand together as one city, united in gratitude, united in remembrance. We gather to honor the fallen heroes of the city of Phoenix, men and women, who answered the call of service not for recognition, not for applause, but because they believed in something greater than themselves. They were public servants in the truest sense that kept our waters flowing, our streets safe, our fires extinguished, our communities strong. They repaired our streets under the blazing sun. They maintained our parks so families could gather safely. They kept our public work system running. They showed up in moments of crisis and in moments of calm. They carried responsibility on their shoulders so others could live their lives in peace. Their work was often behind the scenes, but it was never unnoticed and was always essential. Service is more than a job. It is a promise to protect, a promise to serve, a promise to care, and they kept that promise. Today, we honor their strength, their humanity, their laughter during early morning shifts, excuse me, the teamwork in the yard before heading out, the pride they carried in wearing the city badge, and the love they had for their families. Their legacy is not only in what they did, but in who they were. To their families, your loved ones built and protected the city. Their work mattered, their lives mattered, and they will never be forgotten. As we move forward, may we carry their spirit with us in how we show up for one another, and how we serve the community, and how we honor the responsibility we've been given. May we honor them not only with our words today, but with our actions every single day. We remember them, we honor them, and carry them with us. Thank you.
Our next representative is Jess Mayer with the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Local 2384.
Good morning. My name is Jess Mayer, and I'm honored to serve as president of AFSCME Local 2384, representing the City of Phoenix's Unit 2 Essential Employees, the blue-collared men and women who quietly and faithfully keep the city running every single day. Since 1972, we have proudly stood beside working families across aviation, public works, water services, the Phoenix Convention Center, housing, street transportation, fire, police, facilities management, and neighborhood services. But today is not about the work itself, it's about the people behind it and the lasting relationships and bonds formed through years of serving this community together. It's about the coworkers who stood beside us, who shared long shifts, early mornings, and late nights in service to this city, and who are no longer with us. Their dedication was more than a job. It was a commitment to something greater than themselves. We gather with heavy hearts, but also with deep gratitude. Their legacy lives on in the work we continue and in the city they helped build. To the families of our fallen coworkers, please know that your loved ones are not forgotten. We honor them, we carry their memory with us, and we stand with you today and always.
Our next representative is Frank Pacholi. He's with the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Local 2960.
Good morning. My name is Frank Pacholi, president of AFSCME Local 2960. We represent 3,000 city employees, ranging from armed detention officers to 911 dispatchers, from fire inspectors to crime lab technicians. We all know a labor union's role is to make sure our members are treated fairly in the workplace, but in reality, it goes far beyond that. Ours is a vocation to serve our members and their families. We call each other's brothers and sisters in the union because we know that that commitment to taking care of each other extends to moments like this. To fight to take care of the family of our members who have passed on. To always remember our brothers and sisters. To make sure we always say their name with honor and with love. This memorial service does just that. But there's a quote by Banksy that explains it better than I ever could. Quote, "They say you die twice in this world. One time when you stop breathing, and a second time, a bit later on, when somebody says your name for the last time." All of the unions here strive today to make sure we always say their name, and that the last time never occurs.
Thank you, Frank. Our next representative is Brian Willingham with the United Phoenix Firefighters Association, Local 493.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm just going to get raw for a second here. This is not an easy day. These never are. They seemingly get more difficult as the time goes by for me too, and I can't explain why. It's just harder and harder to do. And we give too many of these eulogies for our members, and it hurts. So I'm just being real about that. These men were my friends. They were our family. And while I serve as the president of the United Phoenix Firefighters, we represent 3,000 members, 3,000 firefighters across this valley in 6 different cities. And it's the most honorable thing I've ever done to represent these men and women. So on behalf of the United Phoenix Firefighters Association and our members, thank you for being here. Thank you, the city, for creating this space to remember the men and women we've lost. Ceremonies like this matter. They remind us that behind every badge, every uniform, and every job title is a human being who mattered deeply to others. Today, I have the honor of speaking for the firefighters. And in doing so, honoring Anthony Mock and Frank Contreras and so many others who've died in the line of duty, either because of a duty incident or cancer, and mostly it's cancer. Anthony and Frank represent the very best of our fire family. They were the kind of firefighters others trusted without hesitation, the kind you wanted beside you on your hardest day. They showed up, they carried the load, and they took care of people both on and off the job. Their service wasn't loud or self-promoting. It was steady, reliable, and centered on taking care of others, all of you and your families. In the fire service, we often say we're family. That isn't just a phrase. It's built through long nights, shared risk, sacrifice, and an understanding that what we do carries weight long after the shift ends. Anthony and Frank understood that. They lived it. Anthony and Frank understood the risks that come with this profession. Firefighting is dangerous by its very nature, and they accepted that reality willingly in order to serve others. Their loss is a reminder that the work firefighters do is not theoretical or abstract. It carries real risk and sometimes a real cost. And we've got families in this room, the Mock family, the Priest family, the Parks family, the Contreras family. They encumbered the burden of that loss, and they're still feeling it. And your support here today lets them know that you care and that it meant something. And that's important to me. I apologize. This is heavy. I need to thank some people. I'm going to just go off script because this reading a speech to me is just too difficult. We have a mayor and a council and a city manager and staff that care about our firefighters in this community. And I hate labeling, but like we have politicians and they make these decisions that help or hurt, right? And I want you to know, I want everybody in this room to know, and I want everybody who's listening to this from anywhere in the world to understand that our city, our mayor, and our council, and our city management team cares about our firefighters. You're going to witness, we are in the process of the largest expansion in the history of the Phoenix Fire Department because of the resources that they funded and that the way they've cautiously cared for and looked after our fire department to make improvements that are long overdue. And it's happening. And it's happening in large part because of Anthony and Frank and the people that have done this work for decades. And I think that has to be said. Because if these men and these women are going to run out into burning buildings and get cancer and have a 300 times more likelihood of developing cancer throughout their career than any other human in any other profession, then it's important that we support them. And it's important that we say thanks when they're supported. So I'm here to say thanks for that. because I know that Anthony and Frank would appreciate what's happening in this organization and in this city for the community. Your response times are going to drop because of this. And this acknowledgement today, and walking over to this wall and acknowledging this family, these families that have sacrificed so much to give their loved ones, I just think it's important to say thanks, and I appreciate it. And I have so much more to say, but I want to thank our fire chief, because he stood up here and he told personal stories. He came up from the lowest rank in the fire department to become the fire chief. And he still remembers the personal stories, 2,000 of them in the city of Phoenix, equally. And he wakes up every single day worried that somebody else is going to get hurt or die of cancer or get diagnosed. So if we continue to fund these programs and make sure that we do our screenings and honor Anthony Mock and Frank Contreras and the like, that's the best we can do. And we'll keep doing it. So thank you.
Our next representative is Ben Leuschner with the Phoenix Police Sergeants and Lieutenants Association.
Thank you, Brian. That was actually very heartfelt. Good morning. It is my privilege to represent the Phoenix Police Sergeants and Lieutenants Association, which in turn represents the sworn supervisors of the Phoenix Police Department. I am honored to represent our members as we honor those that have given the ultimate sacrifice while working for the city of Phoenix. I'd like to pose a question. What is this memorial, and why do we do this every year? Obviously, it is meant to remember those that passed away while working for the city, but it is more than that. It is an opportunity for those of us still here to acknowledge the loss of these individuals and the effects it has on their families, to let those families and friends know we still remember them, and to reach out to them and tell them we are here for them. To the family members who are here or are watching this, know that our thoughts and prayers are with you. But a memorial like this also serves another purpose, and that is to remind us that this life is temporary and it can be unexpectedly short. And hopefully this fact focuses our attention on what really matters, which is to live a life that is honest, real, and compassionate, always seeking truth and beauty. But above all, and regardless of how you define God, to live a life that reflects our desire to will the good of our families, neighbors, co-workers, and strangers while they are still here. This is one of the principles that drives us in our representation of our fellow employees and our department. It is why we strive to uphold the due process rights of our employees, to uphold the professionalism of law enforcement, and to build positive relationships with those around us. And to close the loop, it is memorials such as this one that bring these intangible beliefs back into focus. Finally, I would like to thank the leaders of this city that have supported this memorial year after year, and I would like to thank the family members that have shared their presence with us. Thank you.
Our final representative today is Daryl Crippling with the Phoenix Law Enforcement Association.
Good morning. My name is Daryl Crippling, and I am on
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You're live.
Good morning and welcome to the May 14th, 2026 Economic Development and the Arts Subcommittee. I'd like to call the meeting to order. And then we will go to our city attorney, Micah Alexander, to explain public comment.
Chair, committee members, thank you for this will be my first meeting with you because David Benton is generally the assigned counsel, but I will go ahead and read through the public comment items here. During the call to the public, members of the public may address the subcommittee for up to 3 minutes on issues of interest or concern to them. The Arizona Open Meeting Law permits the subcommittee members to listen to the comments, but prohibits members from discussing or acting on the matters presented. I'll add one other comment here. The city code requires speakers to present their comments in a respectful and courteous manner. Profane language, threats, or personal attacks on members of the public, council members, or staff are not allowed. A person who violates these rules will lose their opportunity to continue to speak. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it. And welcome to the subcommittee. And next, we will go to our interpreter, Elsie Duarte, and let her introduce herself.
Thank you, Madam Chair O'Brien. As stated, my name is Elsie Duarte, and I will be providing Spanish interpretation during today's subcommittee session. I will now take a moment to address our Spanish-speaking audience. Buenos días, mi nombre es Elsie Duarte. Estaré interpretándole a nuestra audiencia de habla hispana durante esta sesión del Subcomité de Desarrollo Económico y Artes. Para escuchar la reunión en español presencialmente, favor de pasar por unos audífonos ubicados a la entrada de la sala de cámaras. Las personas registradas para hacer un comentario público sepan que podrán hablar libremente, sin interrupciones, durante el tiempo disponible. Sus comentarios serán interpretados al momento que usted termine de hablar. Gracias. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Elsie. I'm going to just verify we do not have anybody for call to public. Okay. Then we will go to item number 1, which is the approval of minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
A second? Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. Item number 2 on the agenda this morning is our annual public art plan. And for this item, we will turn to Deputy City Manager Frank McCune. Thank you for being here with us today.
Good morning, Chairman and committee members. We're excited to present our 2026 through 31 public art plan for your review and approval today. To present, I want to introduce the Arts and Culture Department's interim director, Carrie Brown, and her team to review the plan for the committee. Carrie?
Thank you, Frank. Good morning, Chair O'Brien, members of the subcommittee. We're really excited to be here this morning to talk about our 2631 public art plan. I'm joined with me at the table with Katina Crum, who is our interim deputy director overseeing the public art program. Do we have the presentation loaded?
We're just waiting for the presentation to come up for them.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Got excited and started going.
There's some beautiful art in it, so we want to make sure it comes
Here
out.
we go.
There you go. Thank you for being with us.
Great. Okay. As you know, City Council established the Percent for Art ordinance in 1986, requiring that 1% of capital improvement program funds be invested in public art. Since its inception, the program has been a national model for involving artists in designing and building a better city. We believe this year's plan, which is celebrating the program's 40th anniversary, continues that tradition with projects that enhance the look, feel, and function of our public spaces. The Municipal Art Collection has over 1,200 works of art, including over 250 site-specific public art projects that were commissioned through the Percent for Art ordinance. The ordinance also requires the Office of Arts and Culture to submit an annual 5-year public art plan, which is what we're presenting to you here today. The public art projects included in the plan are prioritized based on opportunities to integrate artwork into individual CIP projects and their potential impact on the surrounding neighborhood. The plan focuses on the equitable distribution of funds as allowable by the ordinance and the diversification of the collection through broadening the types and opportunities and the continued outreach to new artists and new arts organizations. Community engagement is a key element of each public art project that we manage. Artists are required to develop community engagement plans as part of their contract requirements. Depending on the type of the project, residents can be engaged in early phases of developing a scope of work or providing guidance to an artist who's developing a design concept. They can also be engaged during the fabrication of the project and participate in the art making, which you can see here in this photo. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Katina to share some highlights from the plan.
Thank you. Of the 62 projects included in this plan, 3 are new projects, 7 address major retrofits or refurbishments, 9 support general obligation bond initiatives, and 3 are components of long-range planning efforts like Rio Reimagined. The 5-year budget totals approximately $23.6 million. The plan includes percent for art funding from the Go Bond program. Artists are selected from the Go Bond pre-qualified roster to work with design teams to integrate public artwork into projects within each bond proposition. For Proposition 1, 4 artists have been selected for 4 fire stations. This includes Fire Station 7, which is located near the intersection of North 7th Street and East Hatcher Road, Fire Station 13, near North 47th Place and Thomas Road, Fire Station 15, near North 43rd Avenue and West Highland Avenue, and Fire Station 51, near 51st Avenue and Loop 303. For Proposition 4, we anticipate selecting an artist or artist team from the roster for the Girasol Affordable Housing Project located near North 17th Street and East Van Buren Street, and that will happen within the next few months. The budget for public art projects in the Go Bond program is approximately $3.6 million. We continue to work closely with project managers and department leadership to determine the best opportunities within each proposition. A full list of Go Bond projects is included in the plan. The plan also includes several continuing projects at Sky Harbor International Airport as part of the Terminal 3 expansion project. 6 artists have been selected to work with the design team to integrate terrazzo floors, sculptural elements, and multimedia experiences. 4 of the artists are in the design phase, and the remaining 2 artists will have a contract executed within the next 2 months. The budget for the public art projects at the Sky Harbor is approximately $4.3 million. The plan also includes multi-year initiatives like shade, cooling, and heat mitigation, collaborative neighborhood projects, Rio Reimagined, and temporary art. These initiatives align with some of the citywide initiatives found in the Shade Phoenix Master Plan and the Climate Action Plan. For collaborative neighborhood projects, artists are selected to work with the neighborhood and business associations to enhance parks, business corridors, and other community amenities. 2 projects are currently underway in collaboration with the Bell Road Business Alliance and the Central Arizona Project. Such enhancements foster community collaboration and external partnerships that expand the reach of the public art program. 4 projects were completed in fiscal year 25-26, including 55th Avenue Promenade near North 55th Avenue and West Indian School Road, which is actually pictured here. 100 West Washington, or the new police headquarters downtown, was also recently completed, as well as multiple art elements for Cortez Park and Wellsite near North 35th Avenue and West Dunlap Avenue, and a sculptural addition to the Butterfly Garden at the new Levine Heritage Park, located along West Meadows Loop, just south of West Baseline Road. And that project is actually pictured here. Here you can also see some of the projects that will be continuing into fiscal year 26-27, including the projects at Sky Harbor Airport that I mentioned previously, as well as integrated artwork for the new Lone Mountain Park, renovations to the Dreamy Draw pedestrian bridge, and the 3rd Street pedestrian bridge over Rio Salado. Lastly, I would like to note that we recently received the 2026 Environmental Excellence Criscordia Award in the heat mitigation category. Sombra Experiments in Shade, a community-driven shade and storytelling temporary public art project, was honored with this prestigious recognition by Arizona Forward. The Criscordia represents the highest distinction in each category and highlights outstanding environmental leadership and design innovation. Sombra earned this honor for its creative, human-centered approach to addressing extreme urban heat through artful, functional shade, and deep community engagement. It stands as a model for climate-resilient public space design in Phoenix. Should the plan be approved, we will post it on our website for easy access for the public. We are now requesting the Economic Development and Arts Subcommittee recommend City Council adoption of the fiscal year 2026-2031 Public Art Plan. And with that, we are happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Councilwoman Stark.
Thank you. So yesterday I had the pleasure of touring Alice Cooper's School of Rock. And though it's largely focused on music, they have an art room. And they have a lot of students that are doing really creative work. Is there any way that we could ever partner with an organization like that and perhaps have them do a mural or some piece of artwork? Because I tell you, there was some real talent yesterday. I saw some amazing artwork.
Chair O'Brien, members of the subcommittee, Councilmember Stark, yes, absolutely. Our office partners with organizations like that all the time, and so we'd be happy to make that connection to see what might be possible.
I would appreciate it. I mean, I was quite amazed at some of the pieces that we saw, and I think these students just would excel, and they'd probably be proud because they're from Phoenix, and I think there's a real opportunity there, so we'll make sure we connect you with them. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Of course, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Pastor.
Yes, I just want to give a shout out for the award that was received for Sombra. That was a big project, and it was a great project because it was all over the community, and community engagement was part of it, and they had a voice within that space to work with the artist and design the pieces that they felt were needed in their park. So I want to thank you for that. I would have never thought of something like that. So that's the exciting part, that we were innovative, and then we got validated for what we did by receiving this award. So I want to thank you for that. The second piece that I want to talk about is when we do shade mitigation, shade and cooling and heat mitigation, I really want to make sure that those pieces are doing that. I have experience in the past of some of these pieces being done. They do provide the art, and they do provide the pieces, some of the spaces for that, but it's really the shade and the cooling that I was looking for. And so I think we can be innovative. I think we can be have many different types of designs, but I want to make sure that those elements are still into play so that we are cooling. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Pastor. I'd like to learn a little bit more about when we have that community and public engagement piece. What are the steps you take? How do we make sure that we're hearing from more than one or two people? So if you could explain that process, that would be great.
Yes, Chair O'Brien, members of the subcommittee, we take several different approaches, and we really try to tailor the outreach to the project that we're working on. We also work really closely with the artists. We kind of put it in their court to really think about how the community can best serve their projects. But there are a few things that we do pretty much every time, and that are things like surveys. We do public meetings. Again, depending on the project, we may create opportunities for the community to actually participate in the work, but we try to come out at multiple phases, so we're not just sort of showing up one time and saying, oh, we have this idea, and then they don't see the follow through of the process of the project, because sometimes our projects can take years. And so we go out multiple times to talk about the concept of the project, the scope of the work. We'll come back with the artists once they are selected, talk about some design concepts. Once we have that design work done, we try to come back out again. But exactly how those look can vary a little bit just depending on the project and the schedule that we have.
And so who do you determine are the stakeholders that should have or that should reach out to or that you want to participate in this process?
Yes. Oftentimes we look to you in your offices to help us determine that. We also work closely with our grants and community engagement team, who have a lot of experience working with organizations and have a really good understanding of kind of who is where. But we also reach out to neighborhood associations, village planning committees, often do presentations through those organizations to reach the broader community.
And I would just ask that maybe you add our Block Watch groups and our the community alliances as well, because those folks are incredibly active, and they may, I would imagine, welcome you to their meetings to have that input in the process. I do appreciate the work you do in making sure our offices are aware of what's going on. It's really important to me that when we say stakeholders, that we are absolutely including the citizens and the community members around where that art is going. So I appreciate you continuing to do your due diligence on making sure we're really working hard to engage folks in that. And the first slide showed the most recent art installation in District 1, which while I was very sick the day that it was unveiled and the ribbon cutting happened, I've been by, and it is incredible. And I love that it is viewable from the street as folks are driving by. So you don't actually have to park and walk into a space to see it. So thank you for that. There's artwork also on the wall around the well. So I appreciate that twist on where art is, and the art you shown in here, the 55th Avenue Promenade, is incredible. I'm not sure where the next art piece is. That looks like a beautiful flower, but also super incredible. We want to continue to make sure that we have these art pieces in our community. Art definitely creates a certain feel for folks, and we really need to continue that. I support this 1%. I look forward to us figuring out as a city how we can continue to use it and expand where it can go and where people can see it. Public art just does something that no road or building does on its own. It inspires, it beautifies our neighborhoods, it makes us stop and look. Well, hopefully not if you're on 35th Avenue, but and definitely think differently about the space that we're in every day. It reflects who we are as a community and invites everyone, residents and visitors, to see themselves in Phoenix. And this is a real return on investment, and one you can't always put a number on. With 62 projects planned over the next 5 years, distributed across all of our communities, I am proud to support this. And so I would look to one of my council members for a motion.
I move. Oh, go ahead.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much for your work in the presentation today. All right. So item number 3 is our Phoenix Economic Overview and Update, Part 4, the State of Downtown Phoenix, which we know is very busy and very active. For this presentation, we have Ryan Toohill, our Community Economic Development Director, and Zandon Keating, our Deputy Community and Economic Development Director, joining us. Thank you, gentlemen, for being with us today. All yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee. It's great to be with you again today for part 4 of our series. Excuse me. There we go. And today, as just noted, we're in part 4 on the state of downtown. And we're going to be talking just more about where we were back in the age of the Great Recession and what drivers have really helped to transform downtown over the past, since to present, and really what is continuing to drive our economic growth. Today I'm joined with Zandon Keating, Deputy Director of Economic Development, who's going to walk you through some of our slides in a moment. We were also scheduled to have Devney Marley from DPI with us today, but when we shifted our schedule, she had a commitment that she could not get out of with her board. So Zandon is going to present some slides that Devney would have presented just on some of the work that DPI is doing downtown, and so we hope to have her join us at a future date. So moving to the next slide, just at a high level, when we talk about what attracts people downtown, these are some of the core activities that are really drivers to bringing people downtown and also are now contributing to the quality of life for people who live downtown. That's dining and nightlife. We have over 245 bars and restaurants in downtown, 80% of which are locally owned. We have major sports events at a national and global level when you think of things like the Super Bowl, for example, that bring down almost 3 million annual attendees. Our arts, culture, and entertainment opportunities and amenities are many, and those drive nearly 7.2 million visitors to annual events, whether that's our theaters or galleries or cultural institutions. And then, of course, we have our convention and tourism activity. Over 300,000 convention attendees come downtown annually, and over 70 conventions are hosted at the convention center. So a huge economic driver for us when it comes to both bringing people to Phoenix, but then also hopefully having them stay downtown and experience downtown. Looking back at where we were and where we are today, 2010, we were really still the traditional employment-driven 9 to 5 downtown. And I think in our first presentation, Councilman Robinson, you asked, what is the 18-hour economy? And that's really where we're at today. And what that just means generally is that activity is happening outside the normal workday. So that might be people coming downtown in the evenings for a show or a sports game, or it may mean that the folks who live downtown have options to go to a restaurant later in the evening. And so we've really seen that shift occur from 2010 to today. And we've also seen, given the rise of people living downtown and just generally the job opportunities downtown, the median income of downtown rise from $22,912 in the 2010 to 2014 range to nearly $50,000 today on again, a median income. So we're really seeing, I think, the positive benefits of years of planning and investment that Zandon will talk about in a moment, thanks to the leadership from the mayor and council over multiple administrations and councils. And so I think we're really seeing the benefits of that, and we have a great foundation for continued growth. So with that, I'll hand it over to Zandon, who will take us back to talk about some of the original drivers of downtown growth.
Thank you, Ryan. Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee. So there are really 5 drivers of growth that downtown is very much rooted in. The Arizona State University campus and some of the other educational opportunities in downtown Phoenix, light rail and the connectivity that light rail brings as well as other transit brings to the broader region, residential growth in downtown Phoenix, the bioscience core and the other cutting edge research that is happening in downtown Phoenix that is really rooted in the PBC, and then entertainment and other amenities, things, everything from Chase Field and Mortgage Matchup Center to the various museums, various theaters, food and beverage, all of that package that it really brings something interesting for people to do downtown. This growth, though, it's not accidental. This growth really is the result of a city decision to prioritize downtown Phoenix as that civic, cultural, and economic hub. for the broader region and for Phoenix specifically. And this was, a lot of this comes from a very specific investments that our City of Phoenix leadership made throughout the years to make sure that we are continuing to invest in downtown Phoenix and make it the best that it could be. From the light rail to our new convention center to various public-private investments to help with housing and to help with other things in that way. Also, the Enhanced Municipal Services District, making sure that that investment was supported to provide additional services in downtown Phoenix. And that consistent and focused leadership from our mayor and city council for the past several decades to make sure that downtown continued to be prioritized is really what has helped provide that level playing field for downtown. It's a signal to the private investors and to the private industry that downtown is a place that matters and a place where they should and want to invest in the future. So talk a little bit about those 5 different drivers. So ASU and the their campus in downtown, they now have over 18,000 students in downtown Phoenix. This was a campus that was established just 20 years ago as a partnership between the City of Phoenix and ASU. That campus has driven billions in investment around the campus. In other public and private investments, from entertainment venues to additional residential facilities and a variety of different infrastructure projects. It's also helping to drive the workforce for Phoenix. Those 18,000 students are graduating over time and are the basis for many of the companies that are coming to Phoenix. Is helping to fuel that pipeline. And that campus it's the envy of a lot of cities across the country. We have cities come here all the time who want to see, how did we do it? How did the City of Phoenix and how did ASU make this thing work? It's become a model for a university-led urban growth. Next up is that transit investment in downtown. $11.6 billion in total investment along light rail. About $8.4 billion of that is private investment. So significant investment has come as a result of the city's investment in light rail. And what that does is it provides connectivity for downtown to all of the surrounding area. It also provides connectivity to other university campuses and other cultural locations across the region.
Zandon, sorry, could I interrupt you for a second? On the last slide, is the 8.4 billion part of the 11.6 billion, or is it, you're shaking your head, so I'm going to stop my question there.
Madam Chair, that is correct. 8.4 billion is the private investment. 11.6 is total, so there is about 3.2 billion in public investment. And those are things like the convention center and other things that the city has done or other cities have done.
Wonderful. Thank you for that clarification.
Next up is residential growth. And the residential growth is one of the very critical things to downtown Phoenix. It is what has really taken us from that 9-to-5 life to that 18-hour economy that we really see today. Over 10,000 units have opened just since 2015. So we've seen significant growth in downtown Phoenix. And that additional residential base in downtown is what helps to support our restaurants. It stabilizes the restaurant's business model. It helps to drive additional retail demand in downtown and bring additional amenities into downtown Phoenix. We've talked quite a bit about the Phoenix Bioscience Core and the other life science pieces of that industry through previous presentations, but it's important to touch on that today as well because it is such an important driver to downtown Phoenix and the success that we're seeing here. It really helps to anchor those research and healthcare innovations, bringing important jobs and important spotlight on downtown Phoenix and supporting helps to support the growth of that industry in downtown, helps that all of that ecosystem is one of the big drivers in bringing people downtown and bringing attention to downtown Phoenix. And then, of course, we have sports and major events. You can't do anything without talking about how important those are to downtown. From our mega events, Super Bowl bringing $1.3 billion, 2024 men's Final Four bringing $429 million in economic impact. So significant drivers of downtown growth. But those are one-time things, of course. There's the ongoing everyday events and other cultural facilities with those 160,000 attendees that just Symphony Hall and Orpheum Theater, for example, and there's a number of other institutions who are bringing attendees to their facilities as well. And then tourism in that visitor base. So annually to Phoenix, we're now seeing almost 21 million visitors with $5 billion in spending to the Phoenix region, and the downtown is a significant driver in that. Next, we want to talk a little bit about one of the other key support systems, which is the Enhanced Municipal Services District and the work that Downtown Phoenix, Inc. is doing to help with downtown, help make it one of the best downtowns in the country. So we'll start, of course, with the most visible part, which is the orange shirt ambassadors. In 2025, they assisted over 71,000 people with various different things. They do things from walking escorts. They can help with your, if your battery dies, they can help give you a jump start. One of the most kind of unique things they do is that they recover vehicles when people forget where they park. My favorite story is when they recovered a bus. It was a school bus that brought a group of children to downtown for an event, and the bus driver forgot where they parked. And DPI was able to find where the bus was and get those kids safely back home after their event was done. Next up, of course, is the Clean and Green team. We hear constantly from visitors that downtown Phoenix is one of the cleanest downtowns that they've ever been to. And this is one of the most commented things that we hear from our visitors. So really important piece. The Clean and Green team in 2015 removed over 107,000 pounds of trash from downtown. They removed graffiti tags. That's why you never see graffiti in downtown, because it's gone almost as soon as it shows up. And they do other things like making sure that dog waste is removed. They take care of our street pole banners. And they do a lot of work with shade too. They're constantly installing new trees and making sure that the trees that we have continue to be healthy and pruned appropriately. Next up are the outreach navigators. DPI recently opened the hub at Cityscape, which is a community resource space where their navigators can go to help, kind of recharge, but also get, access to additional services and collaborate with other service providers. And so there's a number of different groups that are working out of that one central location. And then anybody from the community, from the general public who is looking for resources can also stop by here and get connected with various resources that they may be looking for. And then there's a number of things that aren't quite as visible, but are just as critical to the public. One of those is stakeholder connectivity. DPI is constantly holding working groups and open houses and maintaining task forces across various topics to make sure that the different stakeholders involved in that specific area are all talking to each other, whether it's things from events, whether it's our downtown businesses, whether it's our different security officers for downtown properties. They're all trying to, DPI works very effectively in making sure that folks are connected, they know who's who, and they know who to talk to solve problems collaboratively with their neighbors. Business attraction and retention. DPI does a lot of work with downtown businesses. They do things from technical assistance. They can help small businesses as they're getting started or as they're running into roadblocks. They can help with some various marketing efforts. There's quite a few different strategies that they have to help with just the existing businesses and making sure that they're helping to drive business where it's needed, helping to clear some of the roadblocks. They do a lot of technical assistance on the permitting side. And then they do a lot, help us a lot with business attraction, doing golf cart tours, providing information to businesses looking to locate in downtown. And that's from whether it's street level or office tenants or anybody who's looking to work in downtown Phoenix. And then finally is the Flock. The Flock is a relatively new platform that DPI employed probably about 2 or 3 years ago. And this is a volunteer platform where anybody interested in volunteering for things in downtown Phoenix can sign up onto the Flock, and it has created a database that anybody who needs volunteers can go to and look to see if there's people on there interested in helping out. DPI, of course, utilizes it for some of their things like street cleanups or neighborhood cleanups and other DPI-run events where they need some volunteers. But outside entities can also sign on and try to use this. Most recently, the Women's Final Four did make a connection there as well and utilize some of the Flock volunteers for some of the neighborhood cleanups that they were doing in advance of the 2024 Women's Final Four just last month. That is just a few of the services. There's quite a bit more that DPI does, but we had a little bit of a time limit here, so we wanted to make sure we didn't go through everything. These are just some of the highlights and some of the really important work that they do. I'm going to pass it back to Ryan to conclude the presentation.
Great. Thank you, Zandon. Members of the subcommittee, one thing I didn't say at the beginning that I think it's really important to note is that the success of downtown is really a team effort, and that's a team effort across our city. I mean, if you think about what takes place downtown, every city department to some extent is involved. And we also have our partners like DPI and other associations and organizations that support us. We have our transit partners, our nonprofits that are downtown, and of course our private sector partners. So this really is a team effort that has to work all together to ensure success. I think we also hopefully demonstrated to some extent the return on investment we get when we make investments in downtown. And so with that, we're really excited about all of the work that's gone on the past few years and what we can continue to build on given the foundation we just laid out for you today. And with that, that concludes our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ryan and Zandon. I couldn't be more grateful to all the folks who are stakeholders in making downtown successful, but especially to Downtown Phoenix Inc. and Phoenix Community Alliance. It is incredible as a Phoenician to see how our downtown has transformed over the, particularly the last 15 or 16 years, but from when I was a little girl. So, Councilwoman Stark.
Thank you. I'm a little surprised that DPI did not mention the downtown strategic plan that they're working on. I think they have a very thoughtful process, and I know Mo Stein is spearheading it. Perhaps maybe we can get an update at a future subco meeting, Madam Chair. And I think it's important. They really are looking thoughtfully at the whole process. They've looked at what's happened in the past, what's happening now, and now they're talking about the future. And I think it's really relevant, especially to some of the other things that we're doing in the downtown area. And so hopefully we can get an update on that soon. I know they're still working on it, but I think maybe just here's where we're at would be great for this subcommittee to review. Thank you.
Madam Chair, Councilwoman Stark, we would be happy to work. Planning and Development Department is taking the lead on putting that together. We'd be happy to work with them to see if we can provide an update.
Wonderful. Thank you, Councilwoman Stark. Councilman Robinson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Excellent presentation. I just love getting this information because the information you provide has a tendency to pop up in different venues that all of us are in sometimes. And it really is very helpful because I think I had mentioned before that I was at an event with Dr. Crow at ASU, and the issue came up there about downtown and everything, and anybody involved with downtown speaks so highly of it. So great presentation. The question I have, and it's more out of curiosity, if no one knows the answer, that's fine, but who's the biggest employer in downtown Phoenix with people actually coming to that location?
That is a great question. I think you've stumped us today.
And I didn't mean to stump anybody. I was
that's okay.
thinking it through.
We'll get an answer for you on that. Yeah, I apologize. I don't have the, it would probably be one of our bigger office users, but I don't have the answer at hand right now.
Okay, thank you. Because I was trying to think it through whether or not it was one particular employee. I know there's a couple law firms that take up 4 and 5 floors in some of the buildings. I was just, at one point it was, I'm going to age myself, it was Valley National Bank.
Yeah.
Down at Phoenix, City of
Could it be the City of Phoenix?
Or Maricopa, yeah, or Maricopa County, one of the two.
Right.
Okay.
And if you
Yeah.
lump us together into a governmental entity, then
usually,
you could.
that's right. Usually you see first the public sector listed as the largest, and then if we're talking private sector, we'll get an answer for you on that.
Right, but maybe we could have both
Yeah,
the
sure.
government and the
Yeah, private
sector, so we could understand that. I think Kevin made a good point there.
And the other question I have, if I could get the information, or if you could provide it to all of us at one time or another, the number of black-owned businesses in downtown Phoenix. I'd be curious to know what that is.
Yeah, Councilman, members of the subcommittee, Councilman Robinson, we will, we've worked, that is a difficult question to answer only because we don't, as a city, track that through our licensing process. But we can look to other sources that we can try to find and determine if we can get you an estimated answer. That we just don't have that as part of. That's not something that we have data on.
Yeah, and I thank you for that. And the reason I ask is because it has been noted a couple different times that black-owned businesses are truly thriving in the downtown area. And the question comes up every once in a while: what's the secret sauce? Why is that happening? And actually, it was City of Mesa and City of Chandler are trying to figure that out because it had been said, it had been stated a couple times. So they're trying to lure businesses like that into their area.
You're not trying to give away our secret sauce, are you?
No, I'm going to hold on to it.
Okay, so you'll talk to him in a briefing about that, not back here at subcommittee.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, guys. Again, excellent presentation.
Thank you, Councilman Robinson. Councilwoman Pastor?
Yes, thank you for the update, and what I do want to honor the past of who had the vision, and now the pieces of the vision are now into play and being implemented as the current council is here today. So I do want to honor the past for their vision and the spaces that have been created and making it happen. I do know that even with our residential growth, we still need some residential. And there is a great need for residential in downtown. And not only that piece, but also other amenities that go along with living in downtown. Could you please explain that, of what that looks like?
Yeah, Madam Chair, Councilwoman Pastor, there is absolutely still significant need for additional residential growth in downtown Phoenix. As we noted, about 10.6 thousand new residential units since 2015, another 1,700 under construction right now, almost 2,800 in pre-development currently in the planning stage. And so there's quite a bit of still interest on the residential side or from the developer side in building new units downtown. We've had quite a few units open up just over the last year to 2 years, about 3,000 units. And the lease up on those, it's a concerning thing for the development community when that many units opens at one time, because they need to fill those units in order to be able to continue to keep the apartment complex viable. But the lease up has actually gone really well. What we're seeing in the numbers, they are leasing up pretty quickly And so we see that there is still significant demand in downtown on the residential side. It's important that we continue to grow the residential base in order to continue to support the different amenities that are downtown. One of the things we hear constantly is there's no soft goods. One of those stores like a Target or a Walmart or somewhere where you can buy a pair of shoes or a belt or something that something broke or you forgot something at home. We're still very limited in those options in downtown, and we need more of a residential base to support those types of businesses. It would, of course, expand some of our other amenities, food and beverage and that sort of thing, but on those soft goods sides, on the retail side, and other things like hardware stores, making sure that we have better options for things like a dry cleaner or other services along those lines, needs a broader residential base to continue to support that. Did that answer your question?
Kind of. It answers my question in the sense that, yes, this is what's happening and we have the numbers. But what I'm really doing is thinking about the next 5 to 10 years. And we are growing, and there is growth happening. And how do we meet that growth? Because once ASU's medical center is up, once all these buildings that we keep going to ribbon cuttings that are being built, all of a sudden they're going to be here, and the housing is not keeping up with the pace of what the demand is. That's where I'm going with it, because we are growing. I do believe we will hit the numbers that you had stated, about 4,000 units. But I feel like it's not just one person, it's a family that comes, it's more than just that one unit. It's 2 people, 3 people living together, and more students are gonna come downtown, and more occupations are gonna be downtown, and jobs. And so trying to figure that out. But as we grow, and we want demand on downtown, what I do know is that there are more boutique hotels coming downtown, and the boutique hotels will also help us with the entertainment that we are trying to attract to downtown. And that's why, as Councilwoman Stark, the downtown strategic plan is very important. And it's very important because it's going to set kind of the tone of how we need to move towards the future. That, for me, also sets the entertainment district piece. And the entertainment district piece really kind of coincide and work with the downtown strategic plan to finesse and place what is needed for the future. That's where I'm going. I'm talking future now. Today, we can talk about today, but really things are moving towards the future, and how do we attract those event venues, those convention centers, how do we attract that to downtown as other cities are growing? And so I'm just putting all the conversations that we've had together. These are conversations we have had and asked, and so I'm just saying we need to keep on moving. Let's celebrate for this, but we got to keep on moving and putting the things that we need into play today. So thank you again for this. I want to thank DPI, Community Alliance. I also want to thank all those that have invested in downtown, that meet regularly and are part of the downtown strategic plan, because they're putting a lot of time and effort into making things happen in downtown. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Pastor. In your presentation, you mentioned a group, the Clean and Green Team. Are those volunteers? Are they city employees?
Madam Chair, the Clean and Green Team is sort of a division of DPI. So they're employees that are working every single day to clean downtown, make sure that it's green. And when we say green, they're the ones who focus on the trees and the shrubs and all of the plant life that's in the street right away.
But employees of DPI.
They're employees of DPI.
Downtown Phoenix Inc. Mm-hmm. Excellent. So that's amazing to have such a concerted effort down here to help keep downtown shining and looking beautiful for everyone. And it is amazing, along with all of those, the volunteers and the businesses that have invested. Can you, Councilwoman Pastor touched a little bit, as did you, but can you talk a little bit more about our, I guess, our future challenges and opportunities that we have for downtown?
Sure, I'll begin with that, Councilwoman O'Brien. I think as Councilwoman Pastor touched on it, I mean, and hopefully what we conveyed in the presentation is that it's a combination of things. It's residential, continued residential growth, and one thing I would add that I think Councilwoman Pastor was alluding to is it's also the types of units that we have. We can't just have all studio apartments downtown, right? So we need to also be thinking about the types of units that we're bringing downtown. The hotel component is also something that we continue to hear about from our colleagues in Convention and Visitor Center, or Convention Center, excuse me, and Visit Phoenix. And we're, just last council meeting, the council approved a change of use for an old office building to a hotel. So we're continuing to look at opportunities like that. And then it's, again, building on the amenities that we have and enhancing the amenities that we have, whether that's, our open space or our venues downtown. So it's really a combination of all those things, needing to stay focused on moving those things together. But Xandon, do you have anything you'd like to add? No? Okay.
Okay. Excellent. Well, it is definitely exciting to have seen this, like we said, transformation from the 9 to 5 to the 18-hour economy. And as we continue to grow into our future, from whether it's the next 5 to 10 years or 20 to 30 years for the future generations, it is exciting to see where we have come. I know that we all received as council members a letter earlier this week thanking us for the city's partnership and work relative to the women's Final Four. So that was a very successful event. And I think, we often get asked about priorities, and not that there aren't priorities, but I think it's also important to highlight that it really is a whole puzzle. And without all the pieces of the puzzle's not going to look right. And so I appreciate everybody, all of the departments who continue to work diligently to make sure that we have all those pieces, especially in downtown, as we build it up and continue to move it into the future for future generations. So thanks to the businesses, the volunteers, the residents, everybody. Thank you all to your hard work, as well as Josh and all the departments. So appreciate your work on this. Look forward to the next installation in June, right? We're still in May. This year is going by so quickly, I have to check every once in a while. Thank you both.
Can I ask one more question?
Councilwoman Pastor has one more question.
Sorry. In looking at the small businesses, could they be minority businesses? Because I do know in Roosevelt Row, there is a Native American business that is thriving in there. I also know of some Asian businesses due to the International Business Corps, that's how I know. So I would like to know the diversity of businesses that are thriving within downtown.
We can absolutely add that. Yes, ma'am.
And I guess relative, you said that you don't collect that data, but I guess could that be a data point that we ask for voluntarily as people apply for permits?
Madam Chair, Councilwoman Pastor, we don't necessarily track, the city doesn't track business licenses necessarily. Okay. And so, we can glean some of that information, because, especially working with DPI and a lot of the databases and connections that they make. They have some of that data, so we can kind of make some inferences about what those numbers look like, but it's not data that's necessarily tracked through any of the existing city systems.
And if you could work with the chambers, I'm sure the Hispanic chamber, the Black chamber, the Asian chamber has some of that information. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councilwoman Pastor. Thank you both. The next item is a call to public, and we still have no one from the public. So the final item are any future agenda requests. Yes, Councilwoman.
So again, maybe we can
Stark.
get,
Sorry.
I called you Vice Mayor instead of Madam
It's
Chair.
okay. It's okay.
It's one
I
of those
appreciate
days. It's probably the heat getting to us. Again, I think it'd be nice to have an update on the downtown strategic plan, maybe in September or October. But also, I do want to thank you for these series on the Phoenix economic overview and update. They've been really informative, so I appreciate that you're doing that. Thank you.
I'm glad that they're helpful. Councilwoman Pastor.
Actually, I was going to ask if it could be the downtown, a touch base of the downtown strategic plan in June, because of entertainment, and maybe it's really, we kind of, I'm trying to think my thoughts right now, really kind of look at the two, not necessarily the entertainment district piece is ready, but just to kind of speak in a holistic way.
I will certainly talk to Josh and
Yeah.
see what we can have ready
Yeah.
to plan.
I mean,
If
just
we
to-
can, if there's something we could bring in June, although we have a rather busy June agenda already.
I don't think the entertainment district will be ready, that's
No,
why.
oh, no, it will not be, but.
So it's not coming in June.
Yes, no, that's not coming in June
So-
specifically, but yes, how we can talk about what you two are both requesting and when the right timing is. We will work on that for sure, ladies. Thank you all for your requests, and hearing no others, then I will adjourn the meeting at 10:56. Thank you all.
Also improves the bottom line financially and the taste of the product.
Seeing that food waste prevention can create really simple, tangible solutions, why don't